mucha vuelta.
¿Quieres que estén otros?
Ay,
Por eso.
Le preguntamos si puede decir acá. Here or there, se le dice.
Hay gente que pasa.
Sí. Bueno, te lo dejo, mira.
La doctora viene primero y después.
Sí.
Bien.
Pero Pía del Neri sí, ¿quién sería ella? Sí,
Está esperando.
y ahora.
Y no vino.
Ah, sí, me acuerdo.
No, la verdad que no. Por ahí.
Ah, sí, dale. Hay que pararse.
Vos no, como que como ayuda.
No, está bien. Ya sí va a tener que dar. Ah, no. Perfecto. Ripán. Seguidamente. Bueno, enseguida.
Sí. No, vamos a estar. Lo
Hay que
tomamos.
agarrar muchos sinónimos.
Sí.
Muchos.
Sí,
Otra vez.
leemos.
Sí, 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 sí.
Y acá no tenemos escenarios. Pedimos que suba.
Claro, pues le pedimos que se acerque.
Sí, le pedimos que
Bueno, yo me siento. Yo me siento. No,
de mi casa.
de la locutora. De tranquilo. ¿Sí?
La ceremonia era linda.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Antes de comenzar, les recordamos que por favor apaguen o silencien sus teléfonos y si tienen algún problema con los headphones, lo pueden cambiar en aquel sector. Muchas gracias. Bien. Nos reunimos hoy en esta ceremonia especial para rendir homenaje a una figura de notable prestigio internacional cuya trayectoria ha dejado una huella profunda en el campo de la educación científica, la formación docente y la innovación pedagógica. Es un honor para la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires otorgar el título de doctor honoris causa al profesor Jari Lavonen. Presiden esta ceremonia la doctora María Florencia Ripani, rectora de la UdelaCiudad, la licenciada María Rocío Guimeráns, secretaria académica de la UdelaCiudad, y el doctor Juan Carlos Llorente, director del Departamento de Humanidades. Se encuentran presentes en este acto la señora Nicola Lindertz, embajadora de Finlandia en Argentina, autoridades de la UdelaCiudad, autoridades del Ministerio de Educación de la Ciudad de Buenos Aires, docentes de la UdelaCiudad y el equipo de gestión de la institución. Seguidamente nos ponemos de pie para entonar las estrofas del himno nacional argentino. A continuación entonaremos las estrofas del himno nacional finlandés. Bien, vamos a invitar al doctor Juan Carlos Llorente a dar lectura del laudatio correspondiente.
Buenas tardes a todas las autoridades, público en general, colegas. Buenas tardes, Jari. Un placer, francamente, que ha llegado este momento. Un día particularmente importante para todos, para los colegas de la Universidad de Helsinki, para los colegas de nuestra universidad, de la ciudad de Buenos Aires. Este es un gran honor para mí, que agradezco profundamente la posibilidad a la señora rectora, a la doctora Florencia Ripani, de poder dirigir unas pequeñas cortas palabras para ustedes, pero fundamentalmente para Jari. I would like to continue in English, not because I am very good English speaker, but I would like to talk directly to Jari. I don't want translation. So I will do it in English. And Jari is a great colleague who has basically a PhD in chemistry and physics at Helsinki University. And he's also a teacher. First, he became a teacher. He got a diploma of teacher. So he is, as we are, a lover of education from the very beginning. He has committed his life to education, and still he is in the very great moment of his life. And Jari, from the very beginning, has dedicated his research at Helsinki University, but have had a great impact all around the world and also in other universities in Finland. But I want to mention first that although he was born in Helsinki area, he lived from 35 years ago in Tuusula. Tuusula in Finland is just 20 minutes by train from Helsinki, but it's a lovely area. It's just beside the lake of Tuusulajärvi, a very well-known area where most of the most important artists of Finland have settled down there to live. And Jari went to live there with his 2 children, and of course with Kaisa-Liisa, who is an architect working on design. She is now retired, but she has worked on that, and she has specialized in e-learning as well. So she has been a complement for the professional career of Jari. And they went to live besides this lake, in Tuusula. Oh, what a place. Very significant to me, to myself as well, because it's in the area of Jokela, the first place I visited. Very strange place some 30 years ago when I arrived to Finland. But Tuusula is particularly with plenty of history from the beginning of last century. And Jari is part of that community. With his family, he has made history there. I wanted to share this with you. He has married He has married a Kaisa-Liisa, and he has 4 children and 4 grandchildren today. And still he is producing and publishing 300 articles, reference articles, all over the world. I admire that. Jari's lab peer at Helsinki University, everybody likes Jari and speaks nicely about Jari. And that's something we should know. And I know that everybody who has been in touch with him from the first days he visited Argentina and Universidad UdelaCiudad, they have had the same feeling. He's a simple, humble scientist. He has the opportunity and the capability to share everything he knows. And he has the capability to listen. That this is quite a great attitude and aptitude to develop science. Going to the main achievements of Jari, we must recognize that there are 2 main fields I want to emphasize about the work of Professor Lavonen. And these 2 works, these 2 fields, I would say rather than works, lines of works, had to do with education policy on one side and had to do with teacher training in all areas, with a special emphasis on science teacher training. He has worked in service teacher training. He has worked in initial teacher training. He is well known, and he has made contribution to policy education, particularly to strengthen, emphasizing always democracy and dialogue in the communities. There are 2 main points I want to make about his work. They are what I feel are the most important to share with you and to mention. One is his participation. During 2 periods, he was promoted as chair of Teachers Training Forum of Finland. The Teacher Training Forum of Finland is a tool, a lovely tool from where we have a lot to learn. The Teacher Training Forum in Finland is a forum where trade workers, trade unions, universities, NGOs who work on education are participating. And main policies from education in Finland, designed by the Ministry of Education of Finland, are presented to the forum, and recommendation and different reactions to the strategies or reforms or whatever is treated in the moment are taken into account. Of course, the ministry never is obliged to follow the suggestions of the forum, but it's a great opportunity for dialogue with society through their organizations. And I want to emphasize this. Jari was, during 2 periods, the chair of the dialogue. And I had the chance to see how he moves and how he works with our colleagues from different fields in this forum. It's unbelievable. Yes, he has this capability of simply telling how the things are and listening. And this is great. The other thing has to do with his contributions in teacher training and education, in service and initial teacher training. Initial teacher training mainly has been within the setting of Helsinki University, and in-service training as well, but of course always involving other organizations of the society. He had a close collaboration with Luma centers, where Helsinki University is just part also of Luma centers, and whose leader has been a colleague who have the chance, some of you, of knowing her, Maija Axela, a professor from the Faculty of Sciences of the University of Helsinki. And this is just an example. I will not go on details on this, but in-service training has been done with many different organizations in society and also with Helsinki University, while initial teacher training was concentrated basically at Helsinki University. And this has been a powerful tool. I have to mention briefly how this came to Argentina and to the Latin American region. And I must mention that he developed a quite interesting program in Peru during 5 years about teachers' professional development, basically bringing the main principles that Helsinki University utilizes for training the in-service teachers on one side and the teachers in their initial training as well. One real central point to mention in this basic in-service training and initial teacher training is that in Finland, Kari has worked very hard to develop research-based teacher training. This is one of the most important features of Finnish teachers training. Research-based training is something that gives and grants you the possibility to have very active teachers when they are in the field within the educational system, trying to improve every day their practices and to transform those practices that are needed to be transformed. So this is the two main things, the two main fields, I would say. He has really produced a significant impact, and I would like to thank you for that, Jari. The field of the education policies and the field of the teacher training, both initial and in service. The other thing I want to point out about his publications, I will not go in deep to the number of publications he has published, over 300. refereed articles around the world. So I will not go in those details, but I want to say that something caught my attention when you go through. Most of the articles are co-authored. That is telling something about Jari. Most of the articles are co-authored. That's very nice. He's always working a team. He's part of a team, always. And this is something I want to bring up and to stress. The other thing that I want to mention with this, in these publications related to Latin America, he has worked not only in Peru. In Peru, he's carried out this development work, teaches professional development work with 5 universities in Peru, but also he has worked quite a lot in Chile, in Ecuador, in other Latin American countries. And now, since 4 years ago, also in Buenos Aires. I very briefly, but I feel like to tell about this. In Buenos Aires, he started discussing and being in relation with Argentina when Esteban Bullrich, the National Ministry of Education, visited Finland and went to see in the Helsinki University who were there. Yeah, Jari Lavonen was there. He was immediately invited to come here. He came to Rosario. And immediately after that, it was just happened that I was called in that moment by the organizing rector of the university, Mariano Palamidesi, to say, look, the ministry is participating in an international conference on sustainable cities. There would be any professional from Helsinki that you know that could talk about that. Well, like I emailed Jari, and Jari said, well, I am in South Africa, but flying, just that day back to Helsinki, but via Zurich. And said I could change my flight and go to Buenos Aires. And he came for 8 hours, gave the conference, and immediately after, there was a first agreement with the embassy of Finland in Buenos Aires, and there started a nice relation with Jari Lavonen. Well, then this evolved in different ways. There were the two during the pandemic period. He and Maya Axela and the head of the Development Department of Education of the city of Helsinki, they carried out the workshop, Maria Kilonen, sorry. They developed a workshop here at the university where different trade unions and researchers were participating, and the seeds of what was then STEM education, with the strong participation of the Department of Technology and Sciences. Emiliano Gentili was having a crucial participation there as well, started to be consolidated. And I wanted to tell about this because I want to tell also that it is right now with Florencia Ripani that this became possible, to have this possibility of having Jari here again. He became part of our people of the university because today the rector is just nominating Jari as a doctor honoris causa. And that's really fantastic. The same was important to mention that Sergio Siciliani, the other organizing rector, was doing his contribution to make possible this moment. But basically now it is true. It's not just a dream. This became true. And I'm very happy to be in this moment. And finally, in very short, I will not take more time, I want to mention what is actually his contribution as life example. What is his engagement? And I want to talk about tolerance. Tolerance. Tolerance is what Jari, at any moment when he gives lectures any level is bringing. Tolerance to listen what the other is trying to say. Tolerance to understand the conceptual frames from where the other is trying to say or to settle something. This is why the most important competence to be a scientist, to be a full scientist. So I want to stress this very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Jari Lavonen.
Muchas gracias, Juan Carlos. A continuación, leeremos la resolución número 136/2024 de nombramiento de doctor honoris causa de la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires al profesor doctor Jari Lavonen. Buenos Aires, martes 7 de mayo del 2024. Considerando que por medio de la resolución número 227 GSABA UdelaCiudad/23 se aprobó el Estatuto Provisorio de la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires, en el cual se menciona que la universidad reconoce docentes en categoría de profesores extraordinarios, quienes podrán ser doctores honoris causa, eméritos, consultos, visitantes o invitados, residentes, que específicamente detalla que los doctores honoris causa son aquellas personas que se hubiesen destacado por su actividad ejemplar o sobresalientes trabajos o estudios, tengan o no título universitario, y que por iniciativa del rector o de las escuelas en cumplimiento de la normativa que el Consejo Superior dicte, este cuerpo considere otorgar este reconocimiento, el cual no podrá darse en ningún caso a quienes desempeñen funciones políticas en la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires, Argentina o el extranjero mientras permanezcan en ellas. Que se propone, en virtud de ello, el otorgamiento del título Doctor Honoris Causa de la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires al profesor Dr. Jari Lavonen. Que el profesor Lavonen cuenta con un amplio reconocimiento internacional por su labor científica en el ámbito de la formación docente en general y del desarrollo de la perspectiva STEAM. Que Lavonen obtuvo su grado de PhD in Physics Education en el año 1996 en la Universidad de Helsinki y desarrolla desde entonces sus actividades académicas tanto en diversas universidades de su país natal, Finlandia, como en diversos países de Europa, Asia, Estados Unidos y América Latina, a través de innumerables redes de investigación y colaboración académica que se evidencian en sus extensas publicaciones en colaboración a lo largo de todo el mundo. Que el año 2003 fue nominado como Professor in Physics and Chemistry Education en la Universidad de Helsinki, donde asumió distintas posiciones de responsabilidad de gestión en la Facultad de Educación de la universidad, desempeñándose como director del Departamento de Educación y como director del Departamento de Formación Docente. Que Lavonen es actualmente el director del Consejo de los Exámenes de Matriculación en Finlandia, director del Foro de Finlandia de Formación Docente dependiente del Ministerio de Educación y miembro del Comité Central del Luma Finland Network, Ministerio de Educación. Que cabe destacar los innumerables premios y reconocimientos que le han sido otorgados, así como el impacto que sus investigaciones y publicaciones han tenido en el ámbito académico internacional. Durante los últimos 29 años, completó 621 publicaciones en colaboración con distintos colegas del mundo. 123 publicaciones corresponden a revistas científicas internacionales con referato. 149 artículos científicos con referato publicados en libros en el ámbito de Finlandia y el mundo, entre otros 275 artículos y 185 libros. Que en Argentina, la colaboración académica con el profesor Dr. Jari Lavonen se remonta al año 2020, donde se comienza a trabajar con la Universidad de Helsinki, el Ministerio de Educación de la ciudad de Helsinki y el Ministerio de la Ciudad de Buenos Aires en los procesos de formación docente con perspectiva STEAM. Que en tal sentido se desarrollaron talleres virtuales focalizados en formación docente en ciencia y tecnología, que motivó la participación de un importante número de investigadores, sindicatos y universidades locales, y que continuó con proyectos y seminarios hasta la actualidad. Que la actividad ejemplar y sobresaliente del profesor Dr. Jari Lavonen de la Universidad de Helsinki, Finlandia, y su permanente colaboración con esta universidad desde su creación ameritan su reconocimiento académico como doctor honoris causa de nuestra Casa de Estudios, que obran en el expediente citado en el visto los antecedentes académicos y profesionales del mencionado profesor. Que los directores de departamento han elevado la propuesta para otorgar citada distinción. Que la Secretaría Académica y la Secretaría de Extensión, Vinculación y Transferencia de la Universidad han tomado conocimiento y prestado conformidad con la propuesta elevada. Que a la luz de lo expuesto, corresponde dictar el acto administrativo pertinente. Por ello, en uso de las facultades que le son propias, resuelve. Artículo 1. Otórguese el nombramiento de doctor honoris causa de la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires al profesor doctor Jari Lavonen. Artículo 2. Comuníquese a todas las dependencias de la universidad que correspondan. Cumplido, archívese. A continuación, la rectora doctora María Florencia Ripani hará entrega oficial de los atributos de investidura doctor honoris causa al profesor Lavonen. Seguidamente, compartiremos unas palabras de María Florencia.
Excelentísima embajadora de Finlandia, Nicola Lindets, estimado doctor profesor Jari Lavonen, autoridades, docentes, colaboradores, integrantes de la comunidad educativa de la Universidad de la Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires. Es un honor como rectora de la UdelaCiudad participar de esta primera entrega de un doctorado honoris causa en nuestra joven institución. Hoy, por supuesto, la celebración principal es a la trayectoria de Jari Lavonen. Escuchamos las palabras recién como un miembro de nuestra comunidad educativa, una comunidad viva, que sirve para transmitir aquel saber que vamos construyendo y el modo en el cual vamos relacionándonos con la construcción de conocimiento, no solo en nuestra ciudad, en nuestro medio, sino también más allá, en otros países, en otras latitudes. Hoy este doctor honoris causa nos vincula con Jari y nos vincula con Finlandia, un país con el cual mantenemos relaciones hace más de 100 años. Nos vincula con una ciudad, con Helsinki, una ciudad hermanada con la ciudad de Buenos Aires por muchos años, inclusive formalmente a través de un convenio que firmaron las dos ciudades. Nos llena de orgullo poder llegar a este momento, después del recorrido que construyó con mucho esfuerzo esta comunidad educativa. Y quiero remarcar que somos una universidad pequeña, muy joven, que está creciendo, y que estos pasos son sumamente importantes. Son los pasos genuinos, como contaba Juan Carlos recién, que se fueron construyendo con muchas personas que quizás conocemos desde distintos lugares en la trayectoria que tuvimos. Esteban Bullrich, que hoy lo mencionó Juan Carlos, muchos tuvimos el orgullo y la oportunidad de poder trabajar al lado de él cuando fue ministro de Educación en la Ciudad de Buenos Aires y también de la Nación. Una persona incansablemente trabajando y buscando gente talentosa alrededor del mundo que pueda ayudar a construir la educación tanto de la ciudad como del país. Y en ese camino que se va haciendo a lo largo de distintas ciudades, de distintas redes, va trayendo muchas veces a aquella gente virtuosa, talentosa, que con total honestidad y con total humildad aporta su conocimiento, aporta su recorrido. Entonces aquí tenemos a Jari, a nuestro primer doctor honoris causa, que ha construido este lazo con uno de los capitales más importantes que tiene la universidad, que es su comunidad, sus docentes, aquellas personas que la construyen día a día y que con mucho esfuerzo, muchas veces sin los recursos adecuados, va haciendo los primeros pasos para que la universidad sea una realidad. Una universidad joven necesita, sin lugar a dudas, poder tener manos amigas que la ayuden a construirse, que la ayuden a crecer, que la ayuden a conocer. Jari es una persona que ha estado presente y que ha contribuido con algo que él ha cultivado durante muchísimos años, que es el conocimiento. El conocimiento en base a la humildad, en base a la tolerancia y con una enorme gentileza, que es abrir las puertas de ese conocimiento y compartirla con otros, con una enorme paciencia y con una voluntad muy grande de poder germinar en una latitud tan distinta como esta, algo de lo que él sembró en la Universidad de Helsinki, en su carrera, en la dedicación que tuvo tanto a la formación docente como a la formación de las ciencias. Y aquí creo que hay algo que es muy particular del ámbito de las universidades, del ámbito académico, que es la generosidad de compartir conocimiento. Cómo citamos cuando hacemos una producción intelectual, cómo reconocemos la autoría de otros, cómo nos interiorizamos sobre lo que otros produjeron para, en base a aquel conocimiento que ya está construido, seguir construyendo. Y eso sirve para cortar caminos, porque lo que solos podemos construir nos llevaría mucho más tiempo que aquello que podemos construir basándonos en el aprendizaje de otros colegas que ya lo han hecho. En este caso, Jari, con una brillante trayectoria académica, un embajador internacional del modelo educativo de Finlandia, además, y de una universidad que trabaja cerca de la sociedad, cerca de la política educativa, cerca de lo que los niños, los jóvenes, los adultos necesitan, nos ha traído durante muchos años a nuestra universidad y también en este viaje en particular, gran parte de su saber. Para nosotros esto es sumamente importante, nos llena de gratitud y nos da muchas fuerzas de seguir caminando. Somos una universidad pequeña, joven, y tenemos que seguir creciendo. Y dedicamos mucho empeño y muchas energías y mucho anhelo en este momento. También ha habido el trabajo de muchos colaboradores que están aquí, el cuidado por las flores, por elegir el lugar, a quien por supuesto agradezco, todos aquellos que estuvieron trabajando para que este espacio, esta cálida tarde sea posible. Quiero expresar mi más grande gratitud y reconocimiento al doctor Jari Lavonen por toda la vinculación, por todo el aporte al conocimiento que ha hecho y por compartirlo con esta universidad, con la U de la ciudad. Agradecerle además que haya venido hasta Buenos Aires. Es un viaje muy largo, es un clima distinto, un idioma distinto, un uso horario distinto. Y sabemos que tiene muchas invitaciones y una gran actividad por realizar. Y sin embargo se hace el tiempo para estar aquí con nosotros. Para nosotros es un enorme orgullo y un enorme aporte también a nuestra institución. Sabemos que tenemos que seguir creciendo, formando docentes que puedan llevar a nuestra ciudad la educación que necesitamos y que nos ayude también a construir el futuro de nuestra ciudad. Muchas gracias y siempre estará Jari muy dentro de nuestra comunidad educativa. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias por sus palabras. A continuación, el profesor Jari Lavonen nos brindará su discurso de aceptación de investidura doctor Honoris Causa.
Your Excellency, Madam Ambassador, Madam Rector, dear Professor, dear colleagues, it's my great honor to be here in this beautiful day and a special day for me. I would really like to thank the City University of Buenos Aires University for this honorary position nominated as a honoris causa, Doctor of Honoris Causa to the university. I highly appreciate this recognition, and I am sure also that the University of Helsinki is well achieving this recognition and appreciate it. Juan Carlos nicely opened the background, what has happened before we are here, and I was so happy to participate the discussions and planning of the Ciudad University. And I remember well that in the very beginning it was clear vision and an idea that the university will have a very close connection to the city. So this kind of partnership, city needs university and university needs city, and both win from this nice relation. I have met only few similar ideas in the world. For example, in Hong Kong, they have developed community-based teacher education, and also in some Australian provinces. And of course, in Singapore, where the Ministry of Education is organizing everything, there is a Ministry of Education has very close connection to university. Even the teacher union is part of the ministry, so everything is in the same building. So there is a really close collaboration. But this is very unique in the world, and I am sure that you are proud about this excellent idea, and now you have made good progress to follow the original ideas and make new orientations. I hope that you will also be able to publish to the whole world this great idea and show the results of this collaboration. In the second part of this my thank you talk, I was asked to say something about my research, and because the STEM education is one important part of the Ciudad University, I decided to say something about STEM education and what it is and what we have done in that field. It's quite common that people understand STEM education as an integration of school subjects. Let's put together physics, chemistry, maybe biology, a little bit mathematics. But STEM education is much more than integration. Of course, that is one of the starting points, an important issue that we met, this kind of multidisciplinary phenomena. And actually very close to this idea is that guiding idea is that we, in STEM education, we guide students to make sense of the challenging multicultural, multidimensional and multidisciplinary phenomena, make sense of the phenomena. Or in the context of design, we are guiding students to design solutions. For example, design solutions for circular economy or prevent or mitigate climate change. So the real world, rigorous, relevant phenomena are starting point for STEM education. Make a sense of the phenomena or design solutions means that the learning is kind of project type. In everyday life we have projects, in business life we have projects. But in the context of STEM education, the project base has a special meaning. It takes seriously into account the outcomes of the learning science research. So according to learning science research, students should be active in asking questions and planning their own learning, also evaluating it. Collaboration is important. Building on artifacts are also important. And as a part of this process, STEM education researchers are emphasizing that students are also learning transversal competencies. And finally, actually the origin of the STEM education is coming from the United States. In the beginning of 2000, they were very worried about the situation in colleges in the United States. There were too few number of students who are taking the science studies, engineering studies in colleges. So they connect the career aspiration aspects to STEM education. So it's much more than integration of the subject. And I would like to say something about these characteristics and then say something about what we have found in our own research. There are actually many definitions for transversal competencies. UNESCO has own definition and it is looking for good life for all people. OECD is looking at economic growth. European Union is looking employability of the people. So there are different aims behind the descriptions. And actually, as an educators, we should be aware of those definitions and also the connotations behind the definitions. Somehow I have met the new OECD Learning Compass definition quite useful for the educational research. It is introducing 3 areas of competencies we are able to cultivate also in STEM education. The first area is basic competencies, they call it basic. And the main idea is know what and know how are important. It's really important that students learn to understand the meanings of the concepts. Not every concept, but core ideas, core concepts, the meaning of them, what they really mean. Without understanding of the concepts, you are not able to recognize challenges, you are not able to ask questions, you are not able to plan investigation. You need knowledge. But you need also the understanding origin of the knowledge, where the knowledge is coming. What is, for example, science? Scientists are asking questions based on previous knowledge, then plan something and collect data and so on. The second area is cognitive and metacognitive skills, thinking skills, critical creative thinking skills, computational thinking, learning to learn, use of metacognition in learning. Just now we are doing research on how in primary level students are learning creative critical thinking and computational thinking in the context of coding and robotics. We have been collecting data from Helsinki and Johannesburg in South Africa. The third area which is more and more important in our societies, are social and emotional skills, empathy, self-efficacy, responsibility, collaboration. And OECD's idea is that these three areas, they are somehow, they are separate, but when we engage activities or practices, we employ all those in a situation. And schools should prepare students in those in order to support them to engage in different type of activities. STEM curricula, there are many interpretations. So we have aimed to recognize in our research what are the core ideas in STEM instruction, STEM curricula. There are four big ideas in our understanding. The phenomena is a starting point, guiding students to make sense of phenomena or design solutions in the context of phenomena. At the same time, we should create the feeling of need to know. So we should support students to understand that what we are now doing is relevant for them, for environment, for society. So need to know is important to establish. There are many ways how we can support it, supporting the development of interest or motivation, help students to meet the phenomena in different contexts, support the feeling of autonomy, relatedness, competence, giving feedback to students. And then the third idea is focusing to core ideas. So it's not clever to introduce all the concepts that has always been introduced at school. We have to find the core ideas. What are the core ideas? They have explanatory power. They are used while designing investigation. They are useful in different contexts. They are core ideas. For example, in Newtonian mechanics, the idea that force can change the movement is a core idea. Evolution is a core idea in biology. So heavy selection should be made in order to have enough time for project, for learning of transversal competency, for learning of scientific and engineering practices. And the fourth characteristic is knowledge in use, or use of knowledge in different situations. Knowledge as such is maybe not so useful if you are not able to use it for recognizing, for explaining, for applying, for evaluating. This kind of use are important for use of knowledge. The STEM studies, that was one of the reasons why in the United States they developed the STEM education. So what is STEM career aspiration? It means that students' future expectations and vision about working in STEM field are taken seriously. Teachers should be aware of the expectations, but also the possibilities. Actually, there is very strong gap. Students quite often think that they are willing to work in a situation where they can collaborate, they can use their creativity. However, they are not recognizing in STEM area those possibilities. They just think that STEM is calculating simple things and remembering or memorizing concepts or something like that. How we can make an effect to the career aspiration. Competence is important. Of course, we should support the development of competencies. Without competencies, you are not able to study STEM field. That's quite clear. In the United States, they are emphasizing the salary. That is something strange to Finland, but maybe in Finnish context, we are saying that it is the possibility to find different kind of futures and you are employed and you find nice job. But okay, US people emphasize salary. And then support the development of interest through choosing appropriate content and context. In classroom context, teachers should be active in supporting students to recognize the characteristics of STEM occupations while we are teaching and learning STEM. Teachers should encourage. The teacher encouragement is one of the important issues. Both genders in the same way. And teachers who are interested about their students and interested to discuss with them, interested about their future, they are important in supporting this career aspiration. Of course, the homes are important. Actually, the home and friends are really making an impact to STEM, but also the schools can make that. So that is the characteristic of STEM education, and all those views should be taken seriously. So what are the practical solutions? How to take them? So the pedagogy is something that it is supporting teachers, maybe without teacher recognition that they are supporting, take into account those characteristics. And one is the project-based learning. We have followed those ideas. The project-based learning is based on the learning science research outcomes. So it typically starts with the driving question. So somehow the teacher is introducing the topic, for example, through the video clips, demonstration, and asking students what you can see, what might be the interesting questions to ask based on that phenomena. Let's go to the small groups and plan our questions. Let's communicate them. The communicating is important in different phases of project-based learning. After students have planned questions, they are communicating. Oh, I have this kind of question, I have that kind of question. Oh, you have a different, can I combine your and mine? Oh, this might be a more better question. In our studies, we have recognized that the situations where students are planning questions, communicating them, they are the most engaging situation in lesson. They are really engaging, it's challenging to ask good questions. Then, after asking good questions, they are engaging in scientific practices. The scientific practices are, for example, similar that scientists are doing. They are asking, planning, collecting data, analyzing, making interpretations and conclusions. The collaboration on all phases is important, and their role in learning, knowledge construction. And in project-based learning, like in real-life projects, the outcome is an artifact, something concrete. On the other hand, in science, it would be quite complex. It would be the scientific model explaining the phenomena. It would be concept map showing the relations. It should be a collection of the ideas how to emphasize mitigation of climate change. And finally, the teacher scaffolding. So we never let students alone. Teachers active, walking, discussing what you have done until now, what are your plans for next phase, what you think, what will happen, what is your observation, what is your claim, what is supporting your claim, what is the evidence behind. That kind of questioning is important during the project-based learning. Another type of approach we have followed in STEM education, it has many names. Some call it maker projects, some call it invention projects, design thinking. There are many names for situations when we are guiding students to generate ideas or design solutions. This pedagogy is really challenging for teachers as the project-based learning also, because it's very non-linear. It's not that linear than traditional teaching. You never know what happened. On the other hand, teacher has idea that there should be different phases, starting from the challenge, recognizing of challenge, looking for background information for challenge, generating possible solutions, evaluating them, making the prototype, looking how it is working, evaluating it, and then introduce it to the others. So there are many projects going on just now. We are looking in primary school related to robotics and coding, how the students are generating ideas, how they think beforehand they are making codes, how they evaluate the codes in debugging. And for example, in one project, the students were developing inventions related to the sustainability. Okay, the cleaning machine was quite obvious. Some students were making a cleaning machine, but one group was creating an anti-bullying robot. So they take seriously the social dimension of the sustainability. Maybe I can shortly go to the final conclusion. So I have done emphasize the characteristics of STEM education, give 2 examples, project-based learning and invention pedagogy. We have published maybe 40, 50 papers in the field of STEM education. One outcome is that for teachers it's quite challenging. It takes time for teachers to adopt new strategies, new pedagogy. They should be scaffolded and they should collaborate, they should reflect. We just closed a project related to the teaching climate education in upper secondary school, high school. It takes 4 years for teachers in physics and chemistry to open their physics teaching and taking into account the climate-related issues. But after finding the way how they can integrate climate education inside physics, they were really happy that, okay, now we can really contribute to that. But it takes 4 years. It was not a short project. We have very clear research outcomes that project-based learning support, at least in a similar way, learning of conceptual knowledge than traditional teaching. It's not better than traditional teaching. Teacher is teaching and students are writing for conceptual knowledge, but at least as well. We have done it in Finland. We have done it in collaboration with Michigan State University people. We have used randomized control design, and we have a strong evidence that it can really make an impact, at least at the same level. But students are learning much better the procedural knowledge, actually, which is very important while you are planning and doing and making sense of phenomena and generating ideas. They learn much better this procedural type of knowledge. Project-based learning and invention pedagogy, they engage students in learning much better than traditional approaches. I already mentioned that when students are designing questions, that is really more engaging than any other activity in the classroom. Also, the situations where students are working with the data, especially in climate project, we have that outcome that working with the data is really important for engaging them and learning the scientific knowledge. Also, the design solutions is really engaging for students. In general, most of the scientific practices are more engaging and engineering practices than traditional listening and writing. We have also evidence that project-based learning is the situation which give image of the science, what is science and what the people who are doing science, what they are doing. It is also supportive for the career aspiration. So we will continue our studies and of course we hope that we can do collaboration with the Zurich University researchers and look how the project-based learning is engaging students in Argentina. Actually, I was so happy following the lessons on Tuesday in one primary school. Number 9 was the name of the school. I was following the science lesson and students were very carefully thinking questions and afterwards they were looking answers through using microscope. But that was a real scientific practices, and they engaged students. I was recognizing that. It might be really interesting to make study for that. So now I close my scientific part, and once again I'm really honored to receive this recognition, and my university is certainly also honored and looking for collaboration and planning things together. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, doctor Honoris Causa. Agradecemos la presencia del doctor Jari Lavonen, la señora Nicola Lindertz, embajadora de Finlandia en Argentina, autoridades de la UdelaCiudad, autoridades del Ministerio de Educación de la Ciudad de Buenos Aires, docentes de la UdelaCiudad, el equipo de gestión de la institución, y también agradecemos la presencia de la rectora de UdelaCiudad, doctora María Florencia Ripani, de la secretaria académica, licenciada María Rocío Guimerans, y del doctor Juan Carlos Llorente, director del Departamento de Humanidades. Antes de finalizar, les vamos a pedir realizar una foto institucional para retratar este gran momento que acabamos de vivir. ¿Sí? Les pedimos que se pongan de pie, así hacemos la foto final. Cerca de las banderas, por favor. Y les damos un fuerte aplauso a todos. Invitamos a la embajadora, por favor, también a sumarse a la foto institucional. Ahí están todos. Ahora sí. Bien, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias a todos y a todas por haber participado de este acto. Buenas tardes y muchas gracias. Pueden venir todos a sacarse una foto, todos los que deseen participar. Aquí está el fotógrafo y se pueden acercar las autoridades también, el equipo de gestión. Perfecto. Nuevamente una foto grupal. Mariana, también. La idea es que se vayan colocando más apretados. Ya se viene la foto grupal. ¿Estamos ahí? Ahora sí. A las 2 y a las 3. Un fuerte aplauso. Ahora sí.